So, welcome to another edition of the Influence Global podcast, and I'm really delighted to have my friend Vladimir Botsvardi, and I've known Vladimir for some time. I love his enthusiasm, and what he's achieved in marketing has been quite outstanding. So many different awards, so many top 50s. It's a real pleasure to have you on the show today, Vladimir.
Hi, Gordon. It is a pleasure to be a guest on your podcast again. Many thanks for this invitation. Many thanks also for featuring me in your two books, which was a delight. I'm very honored that I have contributed to your book success, and I look forward to our collaboration ahead.
Yeah, no, that's great. So we both have a desire to help people with personal brand and influence,
Yes,
don't we?
yes, Gordon.
And I think it's one of the most interesting areas
Yes.
to which we're going to talk about today is how traditional advertising is changing. So many brands, of course, have relied on advertising to promote themselves, and yet actually they've got so much talent within their organizations and they miss this golden opportunity to build their employee base and particularly some of their leaders. And what's your view about the evolution of personal brand today?
Yeah, I think, Gordon, it is a great question. Thank you. I think personal brand has become the ultimate marketing strategy in the age of AI. And you know that 60%, 62% of global Fortune 500 brands have disappeared from the list since 2000. Since 2000, because I think the power has shifted right from media companies, big advertising agencies to human beings. Nowadays, anyone can create content. Anyone can have a voice.
Mm.
So I think it has created so many renowned self-made entrepreneurs, self-made influencers. And so I believe that so many brands are very far from their consumers because they continue to depend on traditional advertising. They don't tell their stories across social media channels. If you attend Cannes International Advertising Festival, if you meet, for example, advertising agency directors, they are very proud of their TV commercials, but they don't want to storytell across social media channels. I think it is a tip of the iceberg nowadays because I think storytelling is a game. Storytelling is what builds your brand. Storytelling is what sells your product. But traditional advertising is going away. For example, we watch Netflix and we watch no ads, Amazon Prime no ads, Spotify no ads, Disney Plus no ads. Just imagine that consumers are willing to pay more not to consume ads. So,
Absolutely.
for example, when I was working in 2006 in Westgate, Menezes, Virginia, I used to see Blockbuster stores in my neighborhood, and the board members of the Blockbusters, they said in 2006, they discussed that internet and the fourth industrial revolution wasn't going to affect our business. They totally disregarded consumers. They disregarded technology, digital innovation, and they thought that our consumers are comfortable with visiting our stores and touching DVDs. They totally invested all their marketing money in traditional advertising, and they did not buy Netflix for $50 million. They went out of business. In 2007, Nokia was a market leader, and nowadays Apple is a market leader. Because Apple is consumer centric. So I think that. Not being consumer centric is the biggest threat to any business. So nowadays, as you know, that so many AI startups are being built, and they will drive those big slow companies out of business. If 62% of Fortune 500 brands have disappeared from the list since 2000, maybe 75, 80% of Fortune 500 brands will disappear in the foreseeable future because they continue this traditional advertising. I think best example regarding building a personal brand is Elon Musk, because as you know, Tesla does not have an advertising department, and Tesla has always depended on Elon Musk's personal brand because it's cost effective, because he communicates, he shares his company's updates, that builds trust, he's transparent. Of course, we agree that Elon is not a perfect human being, but he shows his smile. He shows his heart, and he shows his everything. You know.
Well, he
So
shows
this
his
is what
passion. He shows his passion and his particularly
passion. You
drive
know,
uh,
he's
and
passionate, and
authenticity.
you know, Tesla's brand value is estimated in the ballpark of $71.9 billion. It is followed by, I think it is followed by Toyota that stands at $30 billion, and it is followed by Mercedes-Benz and BMW at $23 billion and $22 billion. Do you know anybody from Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Toyota who you admire as much as Elon Musk?
Yeah, I mean, well, although Elon Musk is somewhat divisive as well, but the point is he is transparent, he's authentic, and I absolutely get what you're coming from. And of course, another one is Gary V, isn't it? He's been a great driver. In fact, I was only listening to him.
I think Gary is the best marketing thought leader of all time. Of all
Mm,
time.
do
I
you?
think it is well deserved for Gary. He's self-made. He's passionate. You know, he gives so much. He wants to see so many enthusiastic, driven, and determined entrepreneurs hitting the ground running, building their personal brands, moving forward, building multi-million dollar agencies from scratch, and his impact has been tremendous, right? His
Yeah.
impact has been
Is
tremendous.
there, Vladimir, is there a risk though that something could happen to that individual that could damage the entire business because you are putting your whole marketing strategy on one human being? We're not fallible at the end of the day. Things go wrong in our lives. And, if, for example, that person was involved in something, even if he was innocent, he or she was innocent, is there a worry of brand safety?
Oh, Gordon, it is a great question. I think market decides what is good and bad, right?
Hmm.
Market decided that Airbnb is good. Market decided that Spotify is good. The market decided that Uber is good, right? And the rest of startups are good because they solve consumers' problem, you know? So
Hmm.
Daniel Ek, who is the founder of Spotify, he has built his personal brand through Twitter, right? And his personal brand building on Twitter has powered Spotify's success. For example, Brian Chesky, who co-founded Airbnb, he has huge community on X, Twitter, where he communicates with Airbnb's users and asks questions, improves Airbnb's product by leaps and bounds through listening, you know? So I
Hmm.
think, Gordon, whoever is in the listening business, because so many brands are broadcasters nowadays. As I mentioned, that 62% of Fortune 500 brands have disappeared from the list since 2000. It is a great indication that they don't show their heart, they don't show their smiles, they don't show their face. They executives don't build their personal brands, you know. So the market decides what is good. If people created content, if people communicated, if people I think that taking the first step is always the hardest, but then it has a snowball effect. Then you grow your personal brand, your exposure by leaps and bounds through communicating, you know. So even if I built my audience and if I went from 0 followers to 57,000 followers on Twitter in 6 years, and I won awards, I became a mentor at Techstars. I won 200 global awards, and I mean, I have reinvented my career through self-education and connecting with my audiences, you know. So I think it's all about direct consumer connection is a game nowadays. So anyone who builds their personal brand, even when I mentor a Techstars founder, Catalyst, or Techstars Detroit, powered by JP Morgan, the first tip that I share with entrepreneurs is to build a personal brand and to position their startups as media companies to solve real problems and to think long term, because so many people think in short term and medium term, not long term. So
Yeah.
long term thinking is decisive, you know.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, obviously we've been talking a little bit about entrepreneurs. There
Yes.
are there are also talented people that work in corporates that have a huge amount of knowledge, but sometimes feel as though they are constrained with speaking out about certain subjects because of the tone of voice of the company that they work for. However, I interviewed somebody on my podcast about a year or two ago who was the head of advocacy at IBM, and they realized that a number of their employees, specifically from the tech division, were getting great leverage from their posts on LinkedIn and Twitter, X rather. And they've since created this community, which they've called the IBMers, and it's about 200 people now. And effectively, what they're doing is they're sharing content with their own tone of voice, but they're doing it with the backing of IBM as well. And what that does is that's now created a whole number of individual thought leaders within their business, which makes them more marketable. It makes them look like a company isn't just a corporate machine. It looks like it's got a whole bunch of talented people there. So I was just going to ask you on the back of that, how can individuals that work for companies still have an opportunity to develop their personal brand and voice?
Well, I think from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. is a lot of time to start putting in the work, right? Because when I was in Dubai in 2014, and when I attended conferences, when I listened to practical speakers, and when they were talking about personal branding and Twitter marketing, I only had 30 or 55 followers in 2014 in March, you know. So, but then I became enthusiastic, you know. I started working 16 hours a day. I connected with everyone. I think networking is everything nowadays, Gordon. Through networking, you can become a billionaire. Through networking, you can raise a few millions from investors. Through networking, I think Gary Vee became an investor at Twitter through networking, you know, because he was attending conferences, and he's a very practical guy, actually, you know. So that's why he became, some random hellos led to Gary becoming a investor at Twitter. Some random hellos nowadays, Gordon, you know, some random hellos. If you say hello nowadays on Twitter, that some people follow you, they retweeted you, they liked you, some people left comments on your tweets. You need to communicate, you need to show gratitude, you know. But overwhelming majority, 99% of people don't interact with their followers, with their audiences. This is I think this is the elephant in the room nowadays, that they don't interact, you know. They think that, you know, they attended top business schools, they worked for big corporations, and they think that, you know, they lead by titles. They don't lead by examples, they lead by titles, Gordon, you know. This is actually, so Gary leads by example. Tim Ferriss leads by example. There are only few people nowadays throughout the world who lead by example, who show the world that if you hit the ground running on social media, the results will come, and if you show patience. But nobody, everyone wants to be successful nowadays, and nobody wants to put in the work to be patient nowadays. So patience is a game. Patience is a game, Gordon, you know.
Yeah, you're right. It is a game, and I can totally corroborate with that. And we want
and I wanted to add a sentence that it is an uphill battle nowadays. Uphill battle, Gordon. You know, so you need to be able to take the bull by the horns, just to move forward, never look backward, and to put in the work, because the sky is the limit. You know, there are so many. I think if you put your if you go into overdrive, nothing is impossible, you know. I'm followed, for example, by Grant Cardone, because I created great content on Twitter, you know. I created great content, you know, and I love the philosophy of Grant Cardone that you should believe in domination, not competition, because 99% people compete, but only 1% dominate. Gordon, only 1% dominate, you know. So Tesla, it is competition or domination, right? Coca-Cola, it is a competition or domination, right? I mean, Elon Musk, it is a competition or domination, right? So I think we need to, if we want to be in the top 1%, we should not be doing what the 99% of people are doing. We need to think different. we need to march to a different drummer. We need to push self education. We need to reinvent ourselves. You know, we need to push experiments. You know, so we need to, and ultimately we need to think long term. It is a cornerstone of success. You know.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Blimey, I could talk to you for ages and ages and ages.
Yeah, so let's talk about AI, Gordon, because I think we can. I can share so much with your audience regarding AI, and AI is, I think, I built my personal brand without AI and other automation tools from 2014 to 2022. I was building. I sent 130,000 tweets, but nowadays AI can improve business efficiency by up to 40% and reduce operational costs by up to 30%, according to McKinsey. You know, and global AI market value is expected to reach $267 billion by 2027. And just imagine, Gordon, that 28% of companies use AI for marketing purposes. Only 28%, Gordon. 12% of businesses use AI for content creation. 44% of companies use AI to lower operational costs. And I still believe that 84% of global business organizations believe that AI will give them a competitive advantage. You know, as I mentioned, that nowadays, Gordon, in marketing, copywriting, coding, anybody is replaced 85% by generative AI, and 50% is your personal brand. 50% is personal brand, Gordon, because I meet so many people, I meet so many students, you know, and nowadays graduates should have middle level manager skills nowadays to be competitive in the job market nowadays, Gordon. Graduates need to have middle level managerial skills nowadays, Gordon, because entry level jobs are going away. Entry level jobs are going away, and just imagine that AI will replace 30% of human workforce by 2030, which means that 375 million jobs, million people will switch other careers by 2030. And, you know,
no time, 2030. I mean, goodness, we're 2024. That's like 6 years away, isn't it? I mean, it's
yes,
quite
6 years
incredible.
away, 6 years away, Gordon. So if I bloggers are 85 replaced by nowadays by generative AI, Gordon, ChatGPT 5.0's IQ will be somewhere 175, 180, you know, and Albert Einstein's IQ was between 155, 165. Just imagine that ChatGPT 5.0's IQ will be much higher than Albert Einstein had, you know?
Incredible, isn't it? Really quite frightening. And what, just out of interest, what tools are you using in your day-to-day life? What are you using that you?
I think ChatGPT is a remarkable tool, Gordon. I think Mixo.io is a great website builder nowadays. So you can build websites in 3 minutes without coding. And Mixo.io has already built more than 3 million websites. 3 million websites.
Wow.
I think Perplexity is a AI-driven search engine, and I think I use Perplexity more nowadays than Google search. I use Perplexity more, you know.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So Perplexity garners information from 5-6 different websites, you know. So remarkable. It is a big disruptor nowadays. So many AI driven tools nowadays stand out nowadays, Gordon, and I think that it's all about striking while the iron is hot and making hay while the sun shines to create more content.
Absolutely.
And you can what I was doing now in 7 weeks 2 years ago, nowadays I'm doing 7 weeks work in like in 2 hours nowadays through ChatGPT, you know, because it helps me a lot to reduce operational costs, to be more efficient, to tell my story in a better way. And I think I'm in a catbird seat nowadays to capitalize on ChatGPT to drive my results forward, you know.
Yeah, that's great. Amazing. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, and of course, so many statistics. I really, really appreciate that because it really, when you're listening to a podcast, it really makes a difference to be able to think, wow, and some of those figures are quite amazing, shocking as well,
Yeah,
but
Gordon, I
amazing.
think authenticity is what sets anybody apart. Authenticity, passion, long-term thinking, also resilience, flexibility, and agility, And
Yeah,
I think we need to push self-awareness. We need to become more curious on a daily basis, and we need to become also lifelong learners.
absolutely.
And I believe that if we whether we build personal brands or we build startups, we need to be in a listening business, and we need to listen to our consumers. We need to interact with our audiences. So gratitude drives remarkable results. So anybody who is in business and marketing in 2024 should start showing gratitude, and they should treat their followers as kings and queens.
I love that. So how can people find out more about you?
Gordon, they can check out my website at vladimirbotswade.com. If they want to invite me as a guest on their podcast, I will be more than happy to share my expertise with their audience. Also, they can follow me on. They can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm open to new connections. They can follow me on Twitter X at Lado Botswadze. I'm also available at Vladimir Botswadze on Instagram. They can also check out my blog post on Medium. And also I'm available on Snapchat and the rest of the channels. So let's connect and build great things in the future.
Great. All right, Vladimir, all the very best with your continued success. And
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise, Gordon.
thank you for joining us on the Influence Global podcast.
Many thanks.